What's up, everybody? It's been a while since we did a video. Turkey season was not good to us, needless to say. But what a lot of y'all don't know is I work 28 days in the Gulf of America, then I come home for 28 days, only this time it's 21. I got to go back a week early. And we're going to try to start being more consistent on videos, hence this mount right here. And I feel like I could maybe tell about every buck I've got Euro mounted or shoulder mounted, and you might be able to pick something up from it and maybe learn a little something. And we're going to try to start being a little more personable. I feel like all y'all know is just hunting, but I feel like if you knew us on a personal level, maybe exactly what we did for occupation, how many kids or family members we got, blah, 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 that it's kind of neat because, I mean, y'all see the kids on the videos too. So as of right now, since we're getting personable, I've got twins, Noah and Willa Kate, and we have a 1-year-old who is crying upstairs right now, Lainey Lou. She's trying to take a nap, but sounds like she don't want to. And we got a fourth one on the way, Boone, baby Boone. So we'll have an even squad, 2 boys, 2 girls, and a full house, needless to say. But I want to really talk about what started it all right here. And I'll revert back before this deer kind of set some tone. So I grew up dog hunting here in South Alabama, Covington County. Management area, Connecticut National Forest, over here in Antioch, Alabama, Rose Hill. I mean, you turn dogs loose, you had it all. Well, that got outlawed whenever I was 14, maybe 13. And my dad still actually has a newspaper article of the write-up about it being outlawed. And looking back at it, it was a good way to introduce kids. I mean, we didn't have a whole lot, and good Lord strike me dead after this thunderstorm if I'm lying, but my birthday is December 23rd. My brother's is January 9th. The birthday money we would give it to my dad, so we had gas money to go dog hunting, so we could go deer hunting. Like, we was eat up with it. And we had our own walkers and Julys. I mean, the whole ordeal. We jump in the truck that morning. Everybody's calling on the CB, wanting to know if we bringing our dogs, because we had some jam up dogs. So that was a fun way to grow up hunting. But I seen some good bucks killed, nothing of this caliber while I was a youngin'. But let's fast forward. I started stand hunting, stalk hunting, however you want to call it. A lot of creeping through the woods too, shooting deer. You know, I'd get in creeks this deep and waist deep and wade, and I shot a lot of deer like that. So where this deer was harvested, I don't have this land anymore, and I had roughly 1,000 acres. It was split up into 3 sections, and I'm gonna show some of that on Onyx now because I don't hunt it, so I really don't care if you see what it looks like. But I had been noticing, this is back, we're going to rewind to December 12th, 2007. So I was doing construction and going to LBW at the time, community college for drafting and designing. And I was working for a guy, and Brian Ray, you can vouch for this if you watch this. So we were working in Dixie, Alabama, which is below Connecticut National Forest, where I primarily hunt now. And it was raining just like it has here about lunchtime every day. Well, what I had been doing was going in this creek bottom. It is Fagan Creek, and I had been noticing that there was some extremely large sign at the age of 18. And I was like, man, I got to figure out what's going on. I didn't have cameras then. Cameras wasn't a whole big deal then, to be honest with you. So we were getting rained on down there. Well, that's a 35-minute drive to where I hunt at. It was a full moon week that week. I would shoot up to my parents' house. I would change because that's where I was living. And I'd take off hunting the rest of the day. Didn't have nothing to worry about from lunch until dark. Well, these 4 days in a row, I can't remember exactly if it was after the full moon, but this was a full moon week, 100%. So the 4th day of me going in this bottom, I was bouncing from one side of the creek to the other side, and I was working my way down. And I'm talking about sneaking in there, walking like a cat, because I had done, at this point in my life, I'd done walked up to deer from 20 yards who'd been bedded by a blowdown tree, and they would jump up. So I knew I could be sneaky and that deer could just be laying anywhere. So I finally get to my tree. It's about 12:15. I climb up, and at 1:20, I see this deer at about 80 yards, and I had my Weatherby Vanguard 270. Well, I'm in awe at what I'm looking at. Like, if you really know me, like, you know these deer, like, just blood pressure, heart rate, everything on another level. So I'm like, that is a monster buck. And I had seen some good deer, but that is a monster. So I'm watching him, kind of studying, to be honest with you, because he was just easing like around these scrapes I'd found. Well, he kind of got about, I'd say 80, 75, and he started throwing his head up. Well, coincidentally, this water travel was heading toward him. So I feel like, looking back years later, I figured this out several years ago, but looking back, maybe my scent was getting carried down because I had crossed, it's a system of creeks fingering through, just flowing through this bottom. I mean, both sides of the land go down to the creek, and just creeks everywhere, little islands, deer bed on, the whole nine. So I seen him throwing his head up, and I'm like, oh, this is about to be over with. So I pull the rifle up and I make the shot. And he toted it like a man. Did not buck, did not kick, ran off. So I remember I sat there shaking uncontrollably for probably 10 minutes. And I called my dad. And I said, Daddy, I just shot the biggest buck I've ever seen in my life. And he said, come on now. And I said, I'm telling you, when you see this, if he's down, this is a monster. So he starts jumping up and down. He worked at a local place, a car sales place. I ain't gonna name a whole lot of names throughout this little series of talking about deer and the ones we have mounted. But he was jumping up and down, screaming, hollering. And I could hear somebody in the background say something about, what if he brings a little 6-point up here? And I heard Daddy yell at him, you don't know my boy, which is funny to me. So anyway, he tells me not to climb down because he knew I was shaking. So about 35 minutes go by. And at this point, the temperature is already dropping, falling off for this afternoon, which is another reason it was just a good week to be hunting. It was hot middle of the day. Temperature was falling off 2, 3 in the afternoon. So I climb down. I go right where I'd shot him at. No blood. I go about 10 yards further, blood everywhere. So I get to trailing him up, and I remember I started seeing blood on the side of trees, about, lung high, mid-body high. And there he was about 100 yards or so later. It was a great shot. He toted it like a man. But I remember grabbing him by the horns and just in awe of what I was looking at, because I knew this was something special. So this is about the time deer scoring was getting kind of popular also in the late 2000s, prior to the teens. And I'd been studying, doing my due diligence on my passion. So I knew he was up there. He was over 140 for certain. Well, we ended up grossing at 145 and a half. And this, till this day, this is still the largest deer I've ever taken. His beams were almost 23 inches. He's 11 points with a kicker right here. He's got some unique characteristics. Ooh, got a little bit of lightning. He's got some unique characteristics, but he's very symmetrical, minus the extra point. Got hole in the horn here. We got another one here, which I'll show you some close-ups of. His bases were 5.5 inches. And anytime you get a great scoring deer and your beams go to, I'm talking 22 range, you're talking about a good deer with 22-inch main beams. And these were almost 23. So what I really want to stress about this, this is pre-camera. So I have searched for a deer every day that I can, this size, since then, and I cannot find one. Now, this land, this section, particular section, there was food plot planted. There is supplements for other deer that I've got on the wall that I've killed, like the whole nine since I've been a teenager. I would eat crackers so I can make sure these deer could eat all year round. These deer were taken care of better than most folks' dogs. However, there's agriculture, and hunting pressure at the time was not at a sky high level like it is now. But that's when I found him. That's where we were going as far as I knew I had something special. I kind of sidetracked, so I'm gonna continue with that. So called Daddy, tell him I found him, had to go out of this bottom, go to my truck, change clothes, go back in there because I was soaking wet by the time I got to him. And long story short, we get him out, me and two of Daddy's buddies, and I head to town to show Daddy. And this was the days of when you rode one around in the truck for a little bit. So I'm 36, but when I was a teenager, that was kind of the thing to still do. So I had him stuck up past the bed of the truck and was getting some honks in town and everything else. And even had somebody from Florilla newspaper call me and want to talk about this thing. So this one really put me on the map and just has made me want to try to do my best to keep continuing shooting mature deer. And we guesstimate this deer at 4.5, but a 4.5-year-old down here is at that age, it's hard to pass up on. I mean, not everybody's watching 140s and 150s walk around here. I don't know if I could do it again. I've passed up some 110s, 115s, but I just don't know if I could do 140s, 150s at 4.5. Because down here where we live, the older they get, the harder they are to kill. So get this thing to town, show it to Daddy, and he has lost his mind, and everybody up there had too. And this deer actually cost me double. I was taking him to the taxidermist, and I was speeding. I was excited. That afternoon, I had not caped one out before, and I needed to know how to do it because I did not want to mess this up because, by gosh, this one's going on the wall. So I get pulled over by a state trooper. He said, "Do you know how fast you was going?" I said, "I have no idea." I said, "I'm excited. Do you see what I got in the back of my truck?" He looked back there. He said, "Yeah, and?" And right then and there, I said, "All right, bring me the ticket so I can sign it." So I think it was 270 something bucks. I had to sign a ticket, pay that, plus pay to get this thing mounted. But this is the one that will start off this little series right here. And until this day, this is the largest deer I've killed. Got a spider dropping down from the porch on it. But right here at the house, I'm going to continue doing this. I mean, I think the things to take away from this is you don't need cameras to shoot big deer. If you can pay attention to tracks, I mean, I was seeing his tracks. I was seeing his aggressive rubs. I was seeing this tree and another tree past it with dig marks in it, with the bases rubbing this tree. And I just knew this thing had some tines, but I had no idea it was going to be 145.5-inch gross 11 point. I even noticed at the base where he was rubbing that kicker digging in. That's something to look for, because a lot of times these brow tines ain't even touching. They don't even touch. It's all, and he's still got all of his bark right here around the bases from where I noticed all that happening. So I just really want to stress that this is one of the few in Covington County. These are hard to come by. And just in case y'all want to know where Covington County is, Panama City is about an hour and a half from here. And I know everybody knows where Panama City is. I am 30 minutes from the Florida line. So I'm about as far south of Bama as you can get. And we are in the true deep south, not Birmingham, not Huntsville. This is the deep south where these are giants. And if you turned me and a few other people loose up north, we could source out several like this, I feel like. I've hunted all over, but you can find these in other places besides down here. Down here, this is hard to come by. And as the series goes on, these deer will get smaller. We got some 120s, we got some 130s. on the wall in there. And the real important thing is the detail that I'm telling y'all about to pay attention to. It don't have to be rocket science with cameras and you can utilize it, but you can also be lucky and skillful. All this is luck. That to me, I break it down as 97% luck, 3% skill. Honestly, that's how I feel about it. I've said it to numerous people. Some people want to say, no, too consistent means more skill, but we're lucky to be able to do what we do. So I'm not going to draw this out any longer. I'm going to get in here, start editing this, hopefully have this up tonight, and just let y'all see this, once in a lifetime for where I live, because I sure have not found another one. I've come close, but none of them have reached this for sure, score-wise, that I've got on camera and sign-wise. Now, that big national forest down there, I'm utilizing the mess out of cameras. But if you got 200 or 300 acres, utilize them there too. But if you can't afford them, don't let not having them discourage you. Because I couldn't afford a bunch of them when I was a teenager. I was just using Woodsmanship in order to find sign. And I got several more like that. But I've also got some on camera I've harvested also. And I'll correlate how that works out. But we're going to shut this thing down, and I'm going to get in here and get started editing, and I'll see y'all on the next one.